What's up, everybody? Welcome to Money Management channel. My name is Andy, and today I'm gonna be doing an update on MMTLP and FINRA saga.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up.
And on today's video, guys, I have several quite interesting news. First of all, I will show you the problem on FINRA's and SEC's side, and I have to admit that well, this is a quite severe problem in my opinion. And on top of that, guys, with the most recent due diligence that was made by one of our community members, we can conclude that, well, this problem is much deeper than we can see on the first glance. On top of that, I will show you some updates directly related to one of the most recent lawsuits. We have an update from Conti-Wilcott litigation process, and I have to admit that this update is also very impressive. So, and before we dive deep into all of this, guys, please hit the like button for YouTube algorithm and drop me a line in the comment section if you think my videos are valuable for you. On top of that, if you want to know more about technical analysis, if you want to enhance your trading skills, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to join my Patreon account. And guys, I'm recording this part of the video on June 28th, and within less than a week I will close some of cheap member tiers, and let me show you just a sneak peek on the most recent call that I made just 2 days ago. You know that yesterday on Friday's session on June 27th, Coinbase lost substantial amount of its value, and I made this set of posts the day before on Thursday. You can see it right here. It is June 26th, Thursday, June 26th of this year, and this top I caught to the tick. I made it for my patrons, and the major sell-off happened the very next day on Friday. And guys, you can see that I made a perfect call, and it is not the only call that I made. You can find other similar achievements in the Patreon articles, and that is why, guys, if you want to be a part of this community, feel free to join my Patreon, because within next several days you will not have these lucrative prices. So, and let's begin with this tweet that was reposted by Scott Trott, and he reposted the tweet from the Butcher of Wall Street, and it says, breaking: a Securities and Exchange Commission attorney resigned after it was discovered he lied about being in a good standing as an attorney from the day he was hired in 2008, and was just now found to be lying 13 years later. Trump and Atkins are cleaning house. He had falsely reported being in good stand with the state bar every single year since 2008, despite having his license revoked, according to an SEC's Office of Inspector General report. The attorney's misrepresentation was discovered during an audit of the SEC's bar membership records under the new head of the SEC under Trump. Chair Atkins made him pay back 13 years worth of taxpayer dollars. And guys, I have to admit that it is a quite severe issue that we found 13 years later in SEC, and to be honest, there is so much problems inside the authorities that prevent them to work properly in order to protect the US stock market and retail investors. And let me show you several more examples. Junk Savvy reposted the tweet that was originally published by RareDD, and RareDD wrote this 13 hours ago. From a 2018 SEC roundtable, Cromwell, the CEO of the platform where MMTLP traded, had this to say about FINRA U3 halts and SEC suspensions. Paraphrasing, after a halt, FINRA or the SEC should quickly publish to investors what they found, basically saying these are the reasons we did it, and then let the market have a rehabilitation process. The December 9th of 2022 UPC halt notice did not inform investors of what they found. This is what the halt notice said, image 1 below. FINRA has determined that an extraordinary event has occurred or is ongoing that has caused or has the potential to cause significant uncertainty in the settlement and clearance process for shares in MMTLP and that therefore halting trading and quoting in MMTLP is necessary to protect investors and the public interest. Rather than allowing the market to rehabilitate itself, FINRA made the decision to keep trading halted until they could delete the MMTLP trading symbol on December 13th, removing the possibility that the alleged extraordinary event could come to fruition, but also they prevented the brokerages that had plans to force liquidate short positions and investors that had plans to participate in position close only transaction on December the 9th and December the 12th. Preventing position close only transactions in MMTLP is the issue related to settlement and clearance that FINRA created when they U3 halted trading. FINRA created an extraordinary event that has lasted more than 2.5 years. FINRA didn't make an attempt at being transparent with investors until 3 months after the halt. And guys, I have to admit that the problem is crystal clear. We still don't know what was these extraordinary events that led to this U3 halt. On top of that, guys, well, I found the rule, and to be honest, at this very moment, I cannot remember the number of this rule, but this rule leads to, well, it says that FINRA has to disclose these extraordinary events. That was the reason of the U3 halt. On top of that, U3 halt is a temporary procedure that should be also reversed, and well, because of these two facts, they literally broke their own rules. On top of that, guys, I want to pay attention to some details related to some people who potentially might be involved in the MMTLP trading. So RareDD wrote this. Can I show you something, Paul Atkins? Al Rubinstein is the CEO of GTS Securities, a market-making firm and broker-dealer with a history of disclosures related to market manipulation on every exchange in which they've participated. Rubinstein is also co-founder of the now-defunct Modern Markets Initiative, an HFT lobbyist organization that employed the services of Georgetown professor James Angel. And guys, you know that James J. Angel, well, pretended that he was an MMTLP shareholder. He had basically just, I believe, couple of shares that he received from another person inside MMTLP community right after the U3 halt, I believe. And that is how he became so-called an MMTLP shareholder with the so-called legitimate statement that he can argue from the entire MMTLP community. But definitely he was not the OG shareholder, and he was well, he pretended to be the part of our community. Let me quote you further. GTS securities can be linked to both the earliest and the final trades of MMTLP, a Series A preferred dividend placeholder that traded for about 14 months on OTC, even though the issuers never intended for it to become tradable. Image 1 below. And guys, by the way, this statement is controversial according to so-called another part of MMTLP community. And yes, we have to find the real case of MMTLP, because guys, if MMTLP never intended to trade, this means everything was made without permission of board of directors. But guys, if the board of directors made some exemptions intentionally, this means that they thought that they can do it, and basically they did it because they wanted to do something else. And this something else definitely is the reason why we have so many lawsuits against the board of directors. That is why, guys, I don't want to be in a hurry, and I don't want to do any conclusions before the judge's decision. But a lot of people think that the board of directors is guilty in this, at least partially guilty in this saga. Let me quote you further. The GTS securities business model based on their statements of financial condition, image 2, appear to indicate that they rely heavily on securities sold but not yet purchased. Based on the financial conditions leading into 2022, the last year that MMTLP traded, if GTS had significant liabilities related to Torchlight and or MMTLP, it might have meant that being forced to close their short positions could have been detrimental to their financial standing. But why would FINRA and or SEC prioritize protecting GTS securities over household investors? And this is, in my opinion, one of the crucial questions because, well, FINRA's and SEC's actions are also at least controversial in terms of the MMTLP saga. So, let me quote you further. Well, Ari Rubinstein was a member of FINRA's Market Surveillance Advisory Group for many years. Not only that, but they are one of the biggest market makers on the New York Stock Exchange, responsible for providing liquidity for major names like Berkshire Hathaway, Pfizer, ExxonMobil, Disney, Ford, Wells Fargo, and many more. So, not only would it be an embarrassment similar to when Madoff served on regulatory boards while engaged in criminal activity, if GTS Securities is engaged in the types of manipulation identified in their multiple disclosures, while at the same time utilizing their technology to help FINRA with market surveillance, it would make FINRA and the SEC look bad. And though Rubinstein wasn't prolific on social media, he just stopped posting on Twitter X one day, removed his profile picture for LinkedIn, and stopped posting and appearing in GTS Securities LinkedIn posts, and stopped making appearances at conferences and TV segments. And this is extremely suspicious actions, guys. Definitely this makes me thinking that something is not so clear from Ari Rubinstein part, and definitely it also need to be investigated, and we have to know why did he do it right after the MMTLP story. So Rubinstein's last Twitter post was November the 30th of 2022 at 8:55 a.m. The same day George Palikaros, the then CEO of Meta Materials, the issuer of MMTLP by default, made a specific request to FINRA regarding the dates in which MMTLP should stop trading. Knowing that Ari Rubinstein's GTS Securities was involved with MMTLP since the earliest trades, knowing that their business model involved significant exposure to securities sold but not yet purchased, and seen as how Ari Rubinstein practically disappeared from the public eye on the same day that Meta Materials attempted to give specific instructions to FINRA about how their corporate action should play out, a regulator that most likely saw Rubinstein and GTS Securities as one of them. And guys, I have to admit that it is quite interesting so-called coincidence, but it is very important to know all the dates, and these dates are not the only ones that we should pay our attention to. In a minute, I will show you what I'm talking about, but for now, let's continue. Is it a surprise that GTS Securities has been issued a subpoena in the SEC's case against John Burda and George Palikaros, image 4? Similar to the firms represented on the UPC committee that U3 halted MMTLP, doesn't Ari Rubinstein appear to be another example of conflict of interest ignored by both FINRA and the SEC? And another quite interesting and important questions that we still don't have any information about this. And I have to admit that, guys, RareDD makes a very good due diligence, and I mentioned it multiple times that he has to be connected much more closely to the people who have their own lawsuits active and ongoing, because this information might be very important. Well, we have to prove or disprove this due diligence, and we have to know the real story of this. And the only reason how we can do it is through litigation processes. And let me show you why it is so important to support all the members of MMTLP communities. So Daniel Spears wrote this: I keep telling you all that if we pro se prevail, the community prevails. Why? Declaratory relief. Declaratory relief puts the court in record. It's a legal ruling that defines who was right and what the law requires. And once granted, it can serve as the foundation for further relief, including injunctive orders or money damages. So you folks should be cheering on all the pro se, but you're too busy being led around by the nose by people not trying to get declaratory relief for this entire community. Think about that. And guys, I totally agree with Daniel because I told you multiple times, if just one of these so-called 1209 lawsuits wins, every single person of MMTLP community wins as well. Definitely you have to keep this in mind, and regardless of the names, regardless of the companies who might be involved in this story, the justice should prevail, and if someone did something wrong, they have to be accountable for their actions, not more, not less. On top of that, guys, let me show you why we have to pay our attention to the most recent four letters that were released, wait a second, by Nicholas Ryan. And here you can see that Rob found quite interesting letter. This is my favorite one so far. We are now getting yet more of those alleging that the company has issued to investors counterfeit shares. I'm sorry, I haven't heard many people alleging the company did this. Maybe try harder to shift the blame. And Nicholas Bayer responded, yeah, they were totally confused. And here's the screenshot of the letter itself. Let me show you it in details. You can see that it was written on Thursday, December 15th of 2022, right after the MMTLP halt. So it says, hi there, we have seen a huge wave of intake items coming in regarding a FINRA trading halt for metamaterials, ticker MMTLP and OTC company. We are now getting yet more of those items alleging that the company has issued to investors counterfeit shares. Do you have time for a call to discuss? And guys, this is a quite interesting letter that definitely shows that people from FINRA and SEC knew, and they were at least, let's put it this way, excited about this story, because they didn't know, and I think they still don't know what to do with this issue. That is why, guys, I think we have to push this case even further to find out the truth. On top of that, let me show you quite interesting update from Jennifer Vetrana. First of all, she refers to the tweet that was written by John Burda on December the 30th of 2023. And John Burda wrote, just checked the Nobel list for TradeStation on June the 1st, 2022. TradeStation had 396,870 shares with a Nobel registration. Shareholder not objecting to giving their info to the company on this date. The bulk certificate issued to TradeStation is below. And guys, what does Nobel list mean? Let me quote you this. Under the SEC Rule 14b-1, brokers and intermediaries are required to provide Nobel lists to a company upon request, typically for purposes like proxy solicitations or shareholder communications related to corporate actions, example, annual meetings, mergers, or dividends. As a former CEO of Torchlight Energy Resources, which merged with Metamaterials in 2021, John Burda may have had legitimate access to Nobel lists during his tenure if they were obtained for valid corporate purposes. And guys, this is quite interesting, but don't you think that Greg McCabe, as a real CEO of NBH, can ask each and every broker-dealer to show him Nobel lists? And he can easily count the people who were mentioned there, and definitely he can use this information in order to, let's say, at this point, protect himself. But for some reasons he doesn't want to do it, and that is why, guys, the people like Jennifer Vetrana and other so-called 1209 community members are trying to find this information. And guys, they are working hard. Let me show you. Wait a second. Somewhere here. Jennifer Vitrana made an update. Here it is. 9 hours ago she wrote, "Hey all, I'm in here on another account. I'm in a car and can't listen from my phone." And she added this picture. It is the document that potentially she filed in the district court on July 18th, just several days ago. And this is directly related to her case. You can find the case number. It is the filing of renewed motion to vacate stay order, and definitely this is another fact that Jennifer Vitrana is still working hard. And guys, I want to give a huge shout out to each and every 1209 community people, because they are, well, they spent a lot of time and efforts to find this resolution for entire MMTLP community. Let me show you another example of this fact. Roman Soups wrote this, 1209, a closer look at Conti Quilcott's response to motion to dismiss by John Burda and Greg McCabe. And you can find this document in details right here with this link. But let me quote you just a couple of details. Quilcott says he's met the pleading standards and starts to outline how he says defendants Burda and McCabe had central roles in a fraudulent scheme that harmed approximately 65,000 investors. Quilcott says NBH's reply to his lawsuit underscores the interconnected nature of these defendants' misconduct, Burda and McCabe, including NBH's admissions of valuation errors and deficient disclosures that implicate Burda and McCabe. Quilcott says Burda and McCabe are making an attempt to evade accountability for their roles in a sophisticated securities fraud scheme that devastated plaintiff and tens of thousands of investors. He says Burda orchestrated misrepresentations about TRCH asset valuations. And guys, for now I see it much more clearer than previously that Orogrande Basin doesn't have any oil and gas assets, and this information was provided by the C-level executives. And to be honest, definitely it is very interesting to know what are the details in Conti Quilcott lawsuit, but probably I will do a separate video to cover all these details if you are interested in this. So I think that's all information that I want to provide you. If you like my video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel with notification bell. And see you guys and girls next time. Bye.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gone live it up on the attack.